This is the Oz report for October 28th, 2023. And as always, we're going to start with Plex and Plex adjacent items. If we look at Plex itself, it is still hovering around 5 million ISK. That's the same that it has been the last couple of weeks. Really, what this has done is we had the big NES sale, or the last slightly, I would say, medium-sized NES sale a couple of weeks ago, and ever since then it's been fairly steady. There hasn't been a very large one since then. If you look at the sales that are going on right now, it's more your typical bundles. So there hasn't been a huge run onto Plex after the last sale that we see here in the graph right here. Skill extractors are still, excuse me, I still have a cold. Skill extractors are still rising on the mid-trend, so that's good for everyone that bought into them during the big extractor sale in June. It is also still driving down skill farming profits, so skill extractors still on the rise. To me, now is a good time as any to sell. I have actually started liquidating a big part of my stack. However, that's also because I have frozen all my investment funds, and I'm just trying to be more liquid when I don't see a huge upside to these anymore. Certainly, there is still an upside. There's no huge risk in holding on, but to me, we have made enough money off skill extractors, and so I'm ready to sell. If I look at large skill injectors, they've been fairly steady, rising if anything. So that's a good news for skill farmers. For everyone else, probably not as good news. Everyone else probably just likes to see cheap skill injectors if you're not extracting them. And then lastly, the MasterOm Accelerators, they have been dropping in price rapidly, and this is, this is, as I said last week in the Oz report, this is not surprising at all, since the cost around or over 90 million, as we saw, or significantly over 90 million, at 95 or even 98 million. At that point, it really doesn't make sense for anyone under 5 million, under 50 million. No, it does make sense for anyone under 80 million ISK to buy these. Only at 80 million ISK does it make sense at the current prices to buy them. So it's, the price is probably going to be more in the 80-85 range in the midterm until we see significant changes in the prices of large skill injectors. Otherwise, for most, large skill injectors are just going to be the better deal. Let's move over to items that are trending up. So there we are seeing a lot of raw moon materials going up. If we look at overall the dashboard overall, we can see that over the last week, again, for a second week in a row, we've seen a 6% uptick in raw moon materials since the last stream. So since the last Saturday, 6%. That is massive. Even salvage is up 3%. Advanced moon materials are up 3%. Abyssal materials are up 8%. So this indicates a high demand. People are producing, or people are anticipating and buying stockpiles for the new ships that are coming out with the expansions. So certainly we're seeing an uptick there. That is that's good if you're either mining or you're holding a lot of these goods. So for example, you're seeing dysprosium is one that spiked, of ferrogels, and advanced moon material that spiked. Platinum, we talked about last week. Platinum has just been super cheap. Now, I don't know if this is the Oz effect of me saying, invest in platinum. Totally possible, but it certainly spiked around, what is it? Since last week, platinum spiked almost 20%. And then we also see things like Virtue implants. Virtue implants come from Sisters of Eve, LP. And that has been rising ever since the beginning of the event. I think one big reason for that is Sisters probes, for example, that also come from LP. Basically everything in the Sisters LP shop, be it probes, be it Virtue implants, be it Asteros or Stradios, everything has gotten really expensive since the beginning of the event. Now, if we look at items that are in short supply, we're seeing definitely the gas there. So mycosarosin is going to be used in the new ships. We already know that. The BPCs are out on Hobo Leaks, and so we know that there's going to be higher demand for this, and this is producers or people speculating on this higher demand, and so we are seeing very high prices and low supply on the mycosarosin gas on all of them. Amber is just the one that in this case is on the lowest supply. Interestingly enough, also we're seeing crystalline Isogen 10 in very low supply. This is the abyssal material that goes into abyssal ships. This is looted from trig space, so from abyssal filaments. And while a lot of this is produced every day because it's a very popular PvE activity, still this being this low and being bought up is quite significant. Prices are high, so right now the reward for running abyssals is even higher than usual. And if you have these lying around, or if you're a typical abyssal runner, right now is a very good time to sell them because prices are high. Something else that is in very short supply is the Loki. The Loki ship, I mentioned this last week as well. It's dropped a little bit from the initial rush, but the strategic cruisers are just so popular in the Crimson Harvest event that these the supply is not there, prices are high. So if you're producing them, produce like crazy. If you need them for something else, just wait. Don't buy them right now. The prices are going to come back down rapidly after the event for sure. Again, Virtue implants are in short supply. Same reason as we saw earlier. And then if we go to things that are trading in high volume, we see the Pyrolancia agency drugs there. Also, reason for that is we have an event going on, so these agency drugs are dropping in higher quantities. Most of the prices for them are dropping. You can see here since the beginning of the October event, these have been dropping rather quickly. So these also happen to be a very good investment right now. I probably mentioned that before as well. And then let's look finally into underpriced items. So underpriced, same thing. Agency drugs, specifically Pyrolancia, is always nice because they're in very high demand, but just very cheap right now. Again, ignore the freighters here. Something that's interesting that we're seeing here is two PI items in here. One, broadcast nodes, the other, synthetic synapses. Broadcast nodes goes into things like Sino beacons. It goes into things like iHubs and like station modules, structure modules. This is where broadcast nodes are needed. Synthetic synapses they go into implants a lot. So all of these have been dropping significantly since July. There might be different reasons for it, yes. So they're easier to produce and move now that the volume is lower, but also I think there's a lot of skill farms being spun up, and they probably doing PI on the side. So these used to be very, very profitable, much more profitable than they are now. But both of these are two of the most highly traded PI goods in the game, and they've been dropping rapidly since the summer by 20-30%. So these two, expect them to hit a bottom and come back, because these PI goods, what happens is there's a very big delay, and I've explained this before, but if you're hearing for the first time, the PI goods, they are very profitable to produce if they're expensive. So people, spin up PI farms or PI alts and start producing them. Then a lot of them hit the market, prices drop again, and they drop for months and months and months, and then people stop producing them. They jump onto other PI items, and then the whole cycle repeats because the supply is reduced. And so with PI goods, sometimes you've just got to stick with it and just sell when the price is high. And if you're using PI goods as an investment, just look at the cycles and make sure you look where the bottom is and then buy them. And synthetic synapses and broadcast nodes are certainly two that are approaching their 52-week lows. All right. I think if we're looking at the rest here, we're going to keep it short and just go to Stackmon and give away stuff, right? I won't bother you guys with more market insights. So I wish you guys all the best of luck for the Halloween giveaway, and I will see everyone on the Oz report next week. All right, we're going to return to the regular stream. See you guys next week.